But right now we're going to have some fun finding out about an author, and you do workshops. It's been so long. Chrissy was on the show back in 2001, I looked.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 times with her group. And so now she's back here. She's an author now, and she's written a book, Let My Legacy Be Love, story of discovery and transformation. So tell us about it.
Well, the book, as it ended up, is different than what I originally was going to do.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it
That's
was
a good
really
thing.
a good thing, because I had an idea back in 2014. I mean, it was always on my heart to write a book, and I just knew that because I'm a writer. I love writing.
Well, you're a creative person.
Creative, yeah. And I worked in business all the time, and I worked in numbers, so writing was something that I could do that really fed my soul, where the numbers feed my brain. I had this idea, and I was lucky enough to be accepted into a workshop with the Chicken Soup of the Soul people.
Oh, wonderful.
There were 12 of us.
Wow.
We went out to LA for a week and studied together. And then over the course of a year, we continued staying in touch, and we masterminded. And basically it was, how do you write the type of book that I was looking to do, which in my case was going to be, I wanted to help people avoid the pitfalls and heartbreaks that I had had in my life. That was my desire. And so I thought, well, I'll tell a series of short stories.
Great mission.
I'll analyze them, because I've got the analytical side of my brain.
Right.
And I'll analyze them, and I'll pull out the lessons that other people could relate to. I came back home, and I started working, and I worked for about 3 months. And I had written a bunch of stories and sent them out to a few friends for some feedback.
Like I did, and found out that's not so good.
Yeah, well, one of my friends...
My first 2 were great. The last one, not so
not
good.
so much. Well, my one friend sent back, and she said, these are really good. I didn't know you were such a good writer. I have some ideas. Do you want to talk? And I said, sure. So we started basically swapping stories. And we had been friends for 11, 12 years, like best friends, knowing each other really well. As we got into one of the stories, I was talking about how my second marriage had broken up, and I was absolutely devastated. Like one time, okay, twice.
Yeah.
I cannot point the finger at somebody else. It's obviously something in me, and that was the turning point in my life. So as we were talking about all of this, one day she said, well, you saw all those red flags. Why did you go ahead and marry him anyway? And we kept digging down into that. Why? And one day I just admitted to her, I go, I think it's because when I was a little kid, I never really believed that anybody loved me.
Oh.
Except my uncle. I had an uncle, I saw him once a year, and I knew he saw me, and I knew he heard me. But in my normal life, I didn't.
You weren't getting that feedback.
I wasn't getting that feedback, and I didn't feel that. So although I was really successful in business and artistic, I'm a singer-songwriter,
but
doing
there's
all these
something else
things.
missing.
Right, there's something missing. That relationship part was really struggling with me. So what we started doing, she looked at me and she got tears in her eyes and she goes, oh my gosh, you need to write about that. And I was like, well, I'll write about it, but I'm not sharing that.
I'm not sharing that with
anyone.
No.
Yeah, no way. So
except for this.
Right. As we started digging into the stories, we found so many, like small things, like how many people struggle with not good enough.
Oh my gosh.
Found the root of the not good enough issue. Found the root of bad body image. Found the root of all these things that I had no idea. And by looking at them,
we don't accept ourselves.
We don't, exactly. So what I did was I wrote a series of stories, and after each story I did exactly what I wanted to do, which was dig into the discovery. Like, this is what I learned. Here's the story. And this is what I learned in this story. And most of the stories, especially the kids' stories, are kind of entertaining because I let that little voice that's always in the back of my head that finds everything pretty funny come out.
I love that.
And
but don't you find humor helps an awful lot?
Totally. And the professionals that have read the book have commented on the fact that some of it is very laugh out loud funny. I mean, it really is. But at the same time, it digs into the deeper stuff. And I shared it. I wasn't going to, but the more I thought about it and the more positive feedback I got on it, I said, I can share this as an example of what anybody can do when they look at those childhood stories from an adult perspective. Because we have this, and this is something I learned because I had to do a lot of research once I got
sure.
into it to really understand what I was
Yeah, because you
finding.
didn't want to give misinformation
Right,
either. Yeah.
exactly. And what I found was the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, which was conducted in the late 1990s by some epidemiologists from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. What they were looking for was a link between obesity and adversity in childhood. And what they did was they surveyed 17,000 people, and nearly 70% of those people reported adversity in their childhood, things we don't think of, like divorce, emotional neglect, humiliation, things like this. Bullying, exactly, that's a big one right now. Things that we don't really think are affecting us. But our brains, if you stop and think about it when we're children, are like sponges.
Cataloged.
They're coming in and they are wiring in behavior patterns that we're inadvertently, unknowingly, we are victims
of our own brains.
Of our own brain.
Yeah.
But what I learned was by digging into that and really looking at it and understanding it from a different perspective, completely changed my perception of so much.
Understanding helps an awful lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I share my own story as an example of what anybody else can do.
But not only you do the book, you also are doing a workshop,
Yes.
and that's going to be, it's called Breakthrough, Reveal, Release, and Reclaim.
Yes,
I love that.
I know.
love it.
What we're doing is, I'll just tell you quickly, and maybe the three of us could come back on and talk about it.
I'd love that.
We are doing a series. It's called Breakthrough with an exclamation point. Reveal, release, reclaim. I do the reveal where we talk about story, and everybody gets a chance to take this little test and they work on a story that's something they want to release. And then my friend Jackie owns Stress Fracture, which is a mobile rage room.
Yeah.
So everybody gets
She was
to
on
go.
TV, I saw her, yeah.
Everybody gets to go and break something as that physical expression of letting it go.
Yeah.
And then the other woman is an artist. And what we do is talk about how we're wearing masks in the world, and we take off that mask, write on the mask what we don't want anymore, and then we paint over it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So
What
it's
about
beautiful.
reclaiming, yeah.
Yeah, so we have, we're doing one this Thursday.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
yeah.
The April 25th.
Yep, April 25th. That one's from 6 to 8:30, and that is over at 22 Colvin Avenue
And
in
where's
Albany.
that? Is there?
It's
is
the
that
Kidney
special?
Foundation.
Oh, okay,
there.
yeah, okay. I'm
A
just trying to
mutual
attack
friend.
it.
Yeah,
Attack it,
mutual
just-
friend
Yeah.
has office there.
So you plan on doing a few more of these?
Oh
then?
yeah, well we were going to do one on the 19th, but one of the big issues that we found is suicide
Couldn't
is
find
so
enough
related.
things to break? No.
No, we got plenty. There's something called Cody's Climb. So we decided, the three of us, to go to Cody's Climb to kind of stand behind the whole idea of how suicide is affected by
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
And then on June 1st, we're doing another one in Albany.
Yeah, I'd like to have the three of you on sometime.
Yeah, we'd
you
love
know,
to
maybe
do
to
that.
talk about that.
Yeah.
And, because it's important, I think, for us to delve into what makes us who we are today.
Exactly.
Is something that may have happened when you were 6 years old that is still in there, you know, kind of bubbling around, and you got to get it out, you know.
Exactly. And once you hone in on that, now I just look at stuff and I go, God, that was 40 years
And
ago.
I'm still carrying.
What? You know, what is that?
Well, my idea is I'm not giving rent to any. I'm free rent to anything.
There
that
you
is,
go.
you know, it's
That's
like
perfect.
it's out of my brain. You know, go away, go away.
Yeah,
Because
that's
if you're
perfect.
taking up space up here and
Yeah.
you're not beneficial, then I don't want you there. So,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if we can get an eraser, brain eraser.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Chrissy, and how do you pronounce your name?
Boschman.
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 Is an author. Check out her book, and also check out one of her workshops. Who knows? Maybe you got something to let go. They're going to help you let go, or at least figure out what it was to
What
begin
it was.
with.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be talking about the Octavo Singers. So stay tuned. Oh, can't say that.